Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine. Giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Hey, it's Mike and Blaine. I'm Mike Blaine, also known as Cashflow Mike. That is Blaine Birch, the CEO and founder of Dry Run. What is up, my man? What you know?
All right, just reorganizing. Last week, I actually, for the first time, I put chat up over, or we like to call it Chelsea, over here. And I made like a dark back screen so it doesn't flash on my face and all that. And I just moved my keyboard so I can ask questions. Because sometimes when we're talking about this stuff, we always want to do a little research mid-episode. So, little reorganization, but I am good to go and fired up.
You know, the professionals actually have like a producer thing, say, hey, what about this? And they ask somebody and they do all the research for them and pop it up on a screen. And yeah. We don't have that.
we don't have that. We are not professionals in this area at all.
I mean, we are professionals. We do get paid for this. We got beer sponsors and sponsorship. So we are professionals.
That is very true. We do have beer sponsors. And before we dive into those beer sponsors, what beer are they sponsoring for you today?
Today, I found this cool one. Now, I'm going to get in trouble because it's a 10%er. And I never look at the alcohol content until apparently I get in front of the camera. But check this out, right? It's called Car Ramrod. And it's like, I'm going to call it a Canadian Mountie because I don't look like a Missouri State Trooper. So I'm going to call that a Canadian, what's that? The Royal Mounted Police.
RCMP, yeah, you don't want to see them in your review.
The maple cream ale. That's definitely Canadian, right? It's got to be.
That is definitely Canadian. 10% is a little hefty. And I think I might be joining you. This one's 11, but I am sharing it. So, because it's a little too big for my britches today.
This is going to be crazy. So this is out of Martin House. I've done several of those before. They're up in Fort Worth, Texas. But I thought, man, it's like a cool, like cartoonish, it's almost like a comic book style.
Very cool.
Very
cool can. Yeah. I always love those cans and a lot of times they either got to be super designy cool or really fun, cartoony cool.
Oh, you know what this is? This is a play on Super Troopers.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like a ramrod or you see the two guys? What?
Yeah, the two guys that looks, especially guy with the mustache. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a play on Super Troopers, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
I like it. It's a terrific can. The one I pulled out today is an Imperial Coffee Stout called Purgatory. And it's got this like Grim Reaper cat on the label. It's just kind of weird actually.
Oh, that's super
but
cool.
It's a double dry beaned. I'm trying to read backwards because it sounds like it looks like a mirror. Double dry beaned with single origin Brazilian coffee. And it's brewed and canned by Fat Orange Cat Brewery, North Haven, Connecticut. So way off the map on this one, but I don't know. It's been sitting in the fridge forever. And I thought, it's maybe time to feature these guys. So that's what I got going today.
Yeah. So if you ever want to get beer knowledge from two guys that can read labels and pick out cans by the way they look with the art, we're your guys.
And if you want any tasting notes, we are not, because we're just going to say, hey, I like it or I don't. That's probably all you're going to get. But we do have some beer sponsors. We've actually got some that are going on long-term beer sponsors. Now I'm going to start off because I always like to thank him for you, neighbor Pat, who was actually featured briefly on the show last week and sitting behind Mike there. who always brings you beer. So I always want to dive in and thank neighbor Pat for supporting the show. And oftentimes he shows up in chat. So I'm going to pop over to chat just in case he's got a comment today for us.
Yeah, and he actually brought me a growler last week, so I still got a little bit left in that growler to go through. So, always happy to see Pat doing that. And let me thank Karen Hairston, right? She is a year-long sponsor. She jumps in right first off the spot. She is an Amazon bestseller with her best-selling book called Stop Growing Broke, Start Growing Profit. And she owns a firm in Michigan called 3S Smart Consulting. And if you need cash flow, if you're struggling, if you're worried about making payrolls, anything like that, contact Karen at 3ssmartconsulting.com.
Yeah, absolutely. And also Devin, who keeps coming back and supporting us over and over again, the biggest LSU fan on the planet, also featured in a documentary on Netflix. So yeah, thanks, Devin. Thanks for all the support. Always appreciate it. And all three of you guys keeping Mike and I lubed up with beer. And make sure that if you want to be a beer sponsor, you can just come and go to mikeandblaine.com. You can buy us a beer, $5 an episode. We will mention you, evergreen content. Just get me on the web for virtually forever, as long as our stuff's up. Definitely visit us there. And yeah. And also please like, subscribe, and follow. I always forget that part, but much appreciated for all the support you guys give us.
Yeah. So I popped this can and it instantly smelled the room up with the maple.
The maple.
So this is a heavy note or whatever it is, heavy maple. Look, it's definitely got Canadian influence.
It's got a big Canadian vibe going there. I have to say that for years I couldn't eat maple syrup, and it was because when I was a kid, I was on one of these little foreign exchange type things, but it wasn't foreign. It was to Quebec, almost foreign.
Really good.
And
it's really.
You gotta love maple syrup. But we went to the farm that I stayed at during this exchange program. Of course, they're all French, and I barely spoke French, so it was quite funny to do charades all the time. But they were a farm that made maple syrup, and we had so much maple syrup, and we were pouring it on snow and eating it, and we were going, where they were making it, and all you could do is smell maple syrup, and I overdid it. Just way too much maple syrup, and I couldn't even stomach it for years after that because I just overdid it so bad. But now I like it again. Now it's some pretty good stuff.
Right, we're going heavy candid right up front. There's an elephant in the room I got to talk about just because the Olympics are going on right now. What's the deal with Canada and all this negative press? What's going on up there? What's happening?
Bullshit.
Is bullshit the cheating?
Oh, that's just bullshit. Yeah. That was bullshit. And and if you saw, okay, so they brushing your finger on about a 30 or 40 pound stone is not going to do anything. But if you saw Team Canada when the goal that tied the game against the Canadian men's team yesterday, they had 8 people on the ice, 6 of them on the rush. And the refs didn't notice. Nobody noticed. 6 people in the rush, 6 people by the bench celebrating. And they actually have a picture. 2 guys, they weren't even at the bench yet. 8 of them on the ice. Apparently they missed that. So, seems to be a little bit of controversy in these games, but now we'll see what happens,
Well, here's the cool thing about like talking about the Olympics. So it's like things like that. There's a big rise, right? This is, first of all, I got to tell people that Blaine got to pick the topic. It's been like 6 seasons. Are we in 5 or 6 right now? Is this 6? This is 6.
So we're in season 6. Yeah. So it's kind of 5.5-ish probably.
So he doesn't, he doesn't get to pick the topics a lot. Usually that's my job. And I fell down and he picked me up. He came in at the last minute with a great topic. Matter of fact, I'm actually very connected to this topic right now. So great topic, Blaine. And we're going to be talking about the quiet rise of offline value. And it's like unplugging. It's like getting away from things and stop trying to optimize every part of your life. So this is a great topic that I want to talk about and dig into. And even if you're going to watch the Olympics on TV, I'm looking for every reason to get away from this desk. Every reason. I mean, I'm even building stuff outside. I'm putting up a dog run fence where the dogs don't see each other between the fences. And, neighbor's dog and my dog so they don't bark all the time. It knocked down barking 90%. You want to talk about quality of life? Knock down dog barking 90%. You're like, oh, shit, this is a nice neighborhood all of a sudden.
Nice. He's such a cute little guy. But anyway, I really, as I was digging through topics and ideas today, this one just kind of hit me because I think this is something that's been going on for quite a while. This hustle culture, optimize everything, and also leading to his burnout. And like you and I've talked about, we've talked about this, building a business, especially a startup. It's I always say it's not even like a marathon. It's like walking around the globe. It is so long, it is so hard, and you can't just sprint and optimize and it's what leads to burnout for so many founders and leads to the failure of businesses. And so it was a topic that I kind of identified with because it's easy to get sucked down the vortex and think everybody else is over hustling. I need to too, and I actually think it's really counterproductive.
Yeah, see, and because I ran in late, I didn't really connect it that way. I connected it to how we optimize just our daily life. I mean, dude, I got friends that will time like going, I need to do 5 cold plunges for 2 minutes each, and they're tracking it on what time they have to do it, and they have to get in, go from the sauna to the cold plunge to the sauna to the cold plunge, and they're timing it and tracking it, and they got watches and rings and everything about what they're doing is about optimizing their body, optimizing their health, optimizing whatever it is. We forgot how to just be, right? We forgot how to we don't know what to do with ourselves if we're not tracking something.
Yeah, it's totally true. And I think it's getting worse. Like I just read yesterday that Apple is about to roll out, I think next year, their connected glasses. So that, and making these even more connected, everything more connected, a badge, more connected. I, of course, was one of the ones that rushed out and bought an Apple Watch not long after they came out. And it must have been about 3 years ago, maybe even longer. I took the straps off, put it on the charger by my bed, and it was just my alarm clock. I refused to wear it. I want like analog, because that thing was binging and buzzing and telling me to do this, telling me to do that. How far are you running? How much are you walking? How much? I got so tired of it. And like my phone buzzing in my pocket is more than enough. And I even have the sound off on that permanently. I think it really is a detriment to have machines run your life and tell you what to do. I think that it's, we haven't even got into doom scrolling, let alone all of the, you must do this, you must do that, you must eat this, you must eat that. And it can't be healthy.
Hey, I was the same way with the Apple Watch. I got an Apple Watch in there on the charger. I don't think I've wore it 6 times in 5 years, right? Yeah. It's got a crack in it, not from overwear. It's just every time I clean around the thing, it falls off the charger onto the floor and it's cracked twice. I just found out this a month ago. Didn't we talk about this? Where I'm like, hey, I've been paying for this data plan on an Apple Watch. It was just included in the cell phone plan. I didn't think about it. I'm like, what? $30 a month or whatever it was. I'm like, knock that off there. We're not doing that anymore. So yeah, it's craziness. I'm of the opinion now, and I haven't always been this way, that if I have to track something with a spreadsheet or check on something, I'm not doing it. Because I did that with weight. I did that with workouts. I did that with, steps. I did that with them. Hey, screw that. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not tracking anything anymore. I'm just going to do and live the life. And if I put in 1,000 steps or 40,000 steps, that's what of course, I'm not going to do 40,000 steps, but it's just going to be, what it is. Yeah.
I think it's a much healthier way to live. And I'm not sure that it motivates much more. I've never been one to track those types of things because I don't do well with rules. I don't do well with you must do this, you must do that. I rebel against all of it, which means I'm not tracking that shit. I'm not. It's like I'm doing what I want to do. I will do it, and I do like I routinely will do a morning walk, and I've gotten to stretches. It's like kind of wrecked a foot that I would every day, and we would walk in the evening too. I didn't need to record it. I didn't need a spreadsheet on it. I just had to make it a habit and make it enjoyable. And guess what? It was easy. I think you start to take a lot of the fun out when you start tracking every single thing and optimizing every minute of your life.
Well, I mean, we optimize everything but our sanity sometimes, right? It comes down to it. So, but here's to me, if your optimization is your hobby, and that I'm going to call it that. Some people try to optimize every single thing like it is a hobby. They're putting as much time and effort into it and trying to become perfect at keeping track. If that's your hobby, you forgot the outcome, which is why are you doing that? Because you're not even, what are you optimizing towards? What's it for? Is it for better health? Is it for peace of mind? Is it for whatever? Get your butt outside, do some things. Be like we are, be like one with the world again.
Yeah. Like I constantly hear that this generation, like we don't have kids, but I hear this generation now is scheduled for everything and everything's optimized. And I'm a Gen Xer. I optimize anything. We're outside all the time, getting into trouble doing something. And that was what made it fun. But I think that's where you develop character and experience and critical thinking skills and things that are essential to navigate through life. And I'm worried that maybe we're losing some of that by trying to fill every minute, fill every second.
Yeah, I think you still can. So I mean, I have neighbors come up and go, "You still mow your own yard?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude. That is the one time a week I don't miss." I mean, Courtney will say, if it's Saturday morning, Mike is behind a lawnmower, AirPods in, just listening to music and cruising around the yard.
Oh.
Why? I'm not giving that up. Easy to pay for somebody to do that. And I don't have to worry about it. That's one of the things I actually enjoy doing. It gets me outside every single week for at least 2 hours. I take my time. I pay attention to little things, and I just don't open a screen the whole time.
Yeah. I think it's critical. I've found that I think I've talked about this. I actually haven't talked about it on the show for quite a long time, but there are times where I've got sort of like in business, there's too much going on and there's so many things flying at you. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose. And I would every once in a while just go, no, I'm calling it. I'm going to hop my bike and I'm going to go do like 45 minutes, do an hour on a bike, just do a nice big loop. And you can't believe how many times that I would hop on a bike and within 10, 15 minutes, whatever I was dealing with, the answer would pop into my brain. And I think it's because you go from conscious and there's too many things going on in your conscious mind to your subconscious, and it figures out the answer and just delivers it on a silver platter for you. And I think that's something that especially founders and business people miss. It's everything has to be active and conscious, and it's like a scorecard of how many hours you put in rather than how productive or how effective you are. And getting away from that, even for a short time, can be just like unbelievably effective.
Oh, easily. Yeah. We've talked that a bunch, or where you wake up in the middle of the night and you just write something down because it came to you. It's because your body finally relaxed enough to be able to see what could be could be the solution.
Yeah.
From a business perspective, it feels like it's cyclical, right? Or pendulum or whatever, where optimization in business is more transactional. It's more like we have to do these things. We have to get to the fastest way to the customer, the golden path, all these things where you optimize somebody's journey. So, and then you try to keep them, we'll say in software, with loyalty and, reward points or referral programs or affiliate links and those type of things. Well, last week we were in the mall, and I don't really like going to the mall, but Courtney loves the mall, so that we'll go. And I'm going to tell you, she makes a comment just last week. She said, people say retail's dead. Look around here and tell me it's dead. It is not dead. People are now, I think, when you said it's the rise of offline or rise, what was the title again you came up with? The rise of offline value.
Got me. Yeah.
Yeah, the rise of offline value. That's what made me think about her story, which was just look around. We're waiting in lines. We're walking with groups of people. It's just, retail is not dead at all. You're waiting in line for a dressing room in most places because you're not getting the same premium value. Think about that. Premium value from Amazon when you buy it online. You're getting convenient. You're getting transactional. You're not getting the premium value of touching, being, and doing. So
you're not getting you're not getting the experience.
Yeah, right. And the experience is part of it. That cultural shift is towards let me do a little bit, right? Because people aren't doing. Well, you just said it. Kids are scheduled. They're in their room. You and I, we were outside. We were running around. We were like feral compared to kids today.
Yeah, pretty much.
We just like run wild, like, hey, Mom, I'll see you tomorrow. It wasn't like that. Of course, it was see you later tonight. As soon as the street light comes on.
At sundown. Yeah. When the street lights come on. Yeah, that's exactly it.
I don't even think they worried about where I was.
No, I don't think so either. That was life. I think they wanted us out of the house. And I like the term feral. I think that was an entire generation like that. Somebody just said, save some of that beer for me. Luna Alpha Girl 3567 got a comment. So I'm assuming.
Pat? Is Pat Luna Alpha?
This is Pat. Pat, did you get a new, you change your handle all the time, so Mike can save some beer for you.
Oh, dude, I am calling him Luna Alpha Girl from now on. His name is not Pat. When we do the beer sponsorships, we're gonna say this is from Luna Alpha Girl.
From Luna Alpha Girl, we will do that. We got a new beer sponsor, Luna Alpha Girl. So, appreciate it, Pat.
Hey, Pat, I'm gonna tell you what. You're probably gonna get 2 of these because these are pretty thick. They're pretty heavy. They're pretty sweet. Right? Just like Luna Alpha Girl.
Thick, heavy, and sweet. There you go. Busting chops and taking names. So,
yeah. Somebody's got to mess with a Pat, right? You always got to keep Pat in check.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's appreciate the comment. So it's there's a crossover, especially with business owners and entrepreneurs. I don't know if people can leave their work at work as much as they used to when they're working for someone else, but I think there is a barrier. There's a lot of crossover, I think, when you're the business owner, when you're an entrepreneur, that you get into that culture of optimization at work, and it can stream and at home, and I think it becomes like a never-ending cycle, or potentially could. Maybe you have a business where you do have to optimize. Maybe that's what you get. But I think that's when you have to be able to unplug. Make sure you have an end to the day and unplug, because that's what fuels you for the next day to be able to keep that up, right?
Well, I think the word I used earlier was transactional. Optimization is transactional. And it lacks connection. And connection makes things a little bit messy. It makes things a little bit unpredictable. It makes things, a little bit, I think you're more thoughtful in a connection, right? The reason why you go into a store is not just maybe a connect with other people or know that there's other people out there. You want to connect with the product too, right? Like, I mean, the experience and the brand. The connection is what's missing in optimization, I think.
Well, and I think there's something you really started to, as you started talking about retail, it started to make me think about, other types of businesses, but especially with retail, it has changed. There's so much stuff that's bought online today. But I think if the businesses are looking at their customers, talking with their customers and understanding the behavior of the customer, just like we would here, that is so critical, because I think the other thing that I think taints business today is there's a lot of one size fits all experts, retail experts. You need to do this. And apparently it's the same advice if you're doing a high-end car to a dollar store. Like it's almost like it's universal smart advice. And I actually think that as business owners and entrepreneurs, we need less of that and more talking with your customer, more understanding your customer, understanding the value you bring to them, how they perceive you, how they perceive value, what their problems are, and block the other stuff out. And it's not about optimize. It's about treating your customer right and understanding their problems. I think will take you so much further than just trying to optimize that click-through rate.
Well, what's funny is that us building software for as long as we have, right? If you take VC money, it's all about optimization. Everything they want you to do, it's burning. They want you to burn money, but they want you to measure everything and optimize it all the way down to the best percentage on every level of your funnel all the way through. And while I was doing that, right, we'll say at Finagraph, it reminded me of like a friend of mine back in St. Louis. He had a small manufacturing shop. Not manufacturing, it's what is it when you can mill and make little parts for other companies? What's that called? You know what I'm talking about? Anyway,
Milling,
he had a
I guess.
machine that he could, customize things for you and just produce parts. And he only had a few employees and him. I think I did a few $1 million a year and probably made 20% on it. I mean, lived in one of the best neighborhoods, belonged to the same country club I did. Seemed to work less than I did, go places, live a life, enjoy his stuff. And he just had this one little thing that he was good at, and he did it forever. And he wasn't interested in high growth. He was okay with staying small because staying small gave him the margins. He didn't have to worry about a social media strategy. He didn't have to worry about, really getting new customers as much because he had 10-year long-term relationships where these larger factories would say, hey, we need this by next week. And he would just do it and push it out. And he had enough customers to always be busy for his little bit of group and made more money than most of us that were struggling, where the people that were raising money at the time, we were burning through cash. There were points in time. I hated November because November is when the CEO would go, we're going to have to cut some staff. And then we have to come up with names to lay off because we missed our growth targets and things like that. And all of a sudden things can get shut off or sold. And it's just, and never really make money the same way.
Yeah.
So,
too many. Sorry.
Optimization. Yeah. Too much optimization could just kill the whole thing. You're not really gaining.
And it's the pressure to optimize. It's all artificial. I think a lot of times, honestly, I think a lot of times investors, and once they've invested, it's so, it's like you said, transactional. It's just nothing matters about, I think in a lot of ways about the business or everything. It's just the bottom line number of growth. And it doesn't even have to be profitable. Your cost of acquisition on a lot of those businesses far outstrips what you make off of a customer. It's optimizing for growth, not for profit. And so what happens is inevitably they start to go, first of all, if that engine doesn't work and you don't grow fast enough, they pull the plug and you're done. But even if you're growing fast enough, if there's no path to profitability, a lot of times they'll pull the plug and you're done. And it feels to me, because I've been on that sort of wagon where there's all that pressure and it's all growth at all costs. And it's like, don't even lift your head to look at where you're at, where you're going. Don't worry about your customer. It's just, as long as you show growth, you should survive another day. And that's why 1 out of 10 survive. There's a lot of good companies, I think, that die because their focus turns to the wrong area.
Well, and that almost happened to me like last week. Focus turns to the wrong area. And I'm going to tell you what happened. In January, I decided to get verified by Meta. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, because it says it does a little bit. Maybe I'll get seen a little bit more. Maybe it'll get us a little bit more exposure. So, dude, it's expensive. Have you seen the subscription for that?
No, never even looked at it. Never.
Yeah. Hey, the first level I'm in is like $70 a month. That's high dollar.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So yeah, we can now put I don't know, some type of licensed music on our videos without getting all the warnings and the bells and stuff like that. I can also put links, like links and like 1 or 2 links a month or something like that in the reels, places where you can't put links. Apparently I can.
Yeah.
Well, so a month goes by. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I get an email saying, "Hey, you are eligible for monetization of your account." My account's on Facebook and all that. So I said, "Okay, let's do that." So I put in the details, and so I don't know if I'll make money on it or not, but I have noticed that ads are now starting to show up on my reels and my stories and stuff like that on Facebook. That's an interesting thing. Now, that's also one of those distractors, because my first impulse was I should go try to optimize my stories, my reels, my stuff like that. And I'm like going, no, I'm not doing shit. If I get $5, it's beer money. This is not my core business. I'm not an influencer trying to make money off of views and clicks and shit like that. Mm-hmm. What I am is just a guy trying to sell, what I do, right? And that's where I also have to turn down. For 3 years, all these brands come to me and say, "We want you to hawk this. We want you to promote this. We want you to recommend this. And we'll give you partnership fees and referral fees and those things." I'm like going, no, dude, do you know how much that would deteriorate me if I start pushing other brands? And besides, I ain't figured my own stuff out. I'm not going to start selling your stuff because that means I got to learn your stuff.
Yeah. And that's the big question is even the ads that are running, does that deter some people? Do some people just drop off when the ad starts because they were kind of paying attention and they lose it? And over time, do you lose potentially some valuable leads that you may have kept without that? I don't know if it happens or not, but it's really hard to take the leap to possibly, like I said, step away from your main objective, your main customer, your main goal for a sideshow. We've talked about these side hustles before and sometimes how distracting they can be, right?
Oh, they just suck up time. I mean, they really steal time from you, right? And for a year and a half, I didn't do paid ads, but I think I'm going to start trying them out again at the end of tax season. So I've been watching my competitors on what they do, and I can see why it's a turnoff. I'm like going, dude, I don't want to see you lifting weights with your shirt off. I don't want to see you, I mean, or just some of the buy now, you need this, or even the other way where they say, get the one thing that's going to change your life for $27. The only things that would change my life for $27 is a 10% beer that I made a dumb decision about. after I drank it. That's the only thing that's ever changed my life for $27. But I'm like going, okay, but there's a way to do it. So we've created that campaign. It's all about moments, right? Because I've seen great companies say, like, did we talk about what's that? Pimco Insurance up in Seattle, Washington. They came up with this advertising campaign. This is where I was thinking about it was, and I'm sure they've tried to optimize it somehow.
Yeah.
But they had like going, Mr. You go, no, you go, no, you go at a stoplight, right? But they create these personas and they just make fun of people. This is what they do, right? They make fun of people like going, Mr. Socks with Sandals Man, those type of things. So they create this persona, make a funny, like 10-second thing about how people see this guy in sandals and socks, or nobody knows when to go at the 4-way intersection. And then their tagline is, hey, we're a lot like you. We're a little different. It's like, I'm like, oh, damn, that's smart. And I wanted to see the next one. So that's what we're trying to do with ours is all these almost helpful moments, right? Where, man, I bought this thing and I thought it was going to do the job. And I got to the point where it was almost helpful because it didn't finish the job. It didn't finish the thought. It didn't, it left me stranded somehow. And that's what we're trying to do over here. That's an optimization game, but I'm not wasting my life trying to just measure every little part or every little word of when people drop off. But I'm going to have to if I get into the paid advertising game on, is it this video versus that video, this text versus that text, this link versus that link.
Well, unfortunately, though, at least with that, the ad platforms are getting a lot better at and like it analyzes it and it'll understand what's working best for you. And it can do a lot of stuff that we used to have to do. We used to have to look at all our campaigns and look at all our numbers. At least it can kind of do that for you. So at least there's somebody to help you with that so that the optimization isn't all on you because you got a business to run. But if you can benefit from that, it's going to be huge for you.
We know what's funny is that I found myself in that optimization trap. Meaning I'm trying to optimize everything and everything I do or everything I touch. And what's happened is that I have a bloated website now that I'm trying to shrink because it was not performing well. It sticks, it's slow, it's this, that, and the other. I threw my list of WordPress plugins into Chelsea. And she goes, yeah, no shit, dumbass. You don't need this. You did all this. You've over-optimized. And what over-optimized means is that you're doing too much and you don't need to do half of this. So all day today, I spent on just reducing. So is that de-optimization or is that still optimization?
Yeah, we made the decision years ago. We actually, and I don't know if you're even familiar with, we made the jump from WordPress to Webflow. And the biggest reason was there were too many things that could go wrong and constantly break, and trying to babysit 20 plugins that were running at all times and everything. And we just want content that's fast and lean and easy. And it's not like 100%. It's not like it's unbelievable. We've generally been really quite happy with it because we don't have to deal with a lot of that. We don't have to worry about optimizing and things like that.
Well, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to push a lot of my courses into the new app, right? Because it's a different platform. But currently, they're all inside. I tried to create a membership site, a CRM, and an education, a learning management system all on WordPress. That's just a lot. Right. And to make it, it's just a lot. So it's a heavy run. Every page that loads, can I log in from here? Can I log in from there? Every page that loads, you've got so many things happening in the background. So the more I can push into the app that's more built for that type of stuff, the better. So I've moved one course over and it seems to already be better with that one course inside the app than it was inside the website.
Well, and I think what you're talking about there is the one place where I think it's always worthwhile optimizing, always, is your product for your customer, making the customer experience better, making the work more seamless, making it so, because it's so easy. Optimization, like we've talked about, how much has optimization always been talked in reference to getting more leads, getting more conversions, getting more closed deals. But it doesn't seem to be used as much with or it's all about just reduce churn. Okay, how about just optimizing what you do for your customer, the main thing that you do, make their experience better, solve their problem in a faster, easier way. That feels to me like that's where most of your optimization should go. The 80-20 rule, 80% of your time, make your product and service better.
What was funny is that it's exactly the one thing I did different in this company. Is that I've moved from hustle, grind, I'm busy. I'm trying to be good. I'm just like, hey, I'm good enough, right? I think I told you early on in this venture, I said, I'm trying to see how big I can get without hiring employees, without scaling like I did, without, just make it. I want to be like the guy, right? I look back at the guy that had the little machine shop. I want to be that guy where I didn't have the headaches of 50 employees or 100 employees, and I didn't have investors that were breathing down my neck, and I didn't have, I had everything I could control myself from anywhere in the world and have enough money. Not ridiculous amounts of money. Had enough. I was good.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's the right place to optimize, because the end result, like I think you mentioned this right at the top of the show, focus on the end result. And the end result is you have a life and your staff have a life, and you're enjoying your life, and it's not all just hustle optimize every minute. And it's funny how often it's the businesses that have so much exposure are the ones that everyone admires, even if they're not, like all these big tech companies. A lot of them, the hustle culture and the way they treat their employees and even their customers is awful. And they're not even profitable, but they're big and they're growing fast on a completely unprofitable path. And they're admired more than like your friend's company. It's like, it's so effective. It just was so effective. That's what's optimized is it didn't take that much work or that big of a team to have something that's highly profitable and just works. And that to me is, I just find so like there's so much respect for that model that works so well rather than just this scale hustle culture.
Well, yeah. I mean, especially when I think I'm more focused, right, on what I want to deliver. I'm more focused on having a direct relationship with the customer. I don't want to be, I actually want a relationship. I think smaller is better sometimes, or smaller can be better. Again, I'm pointing back to that guy. You got to think about him. He had no website. He had a website, but he had never touched it. He set it and forget it. Didn't care about what he looked like on the internet. He just was there on the internet. That was it, right? He didn't have any type of other social media, but he had 6 months of backlog. I mean, like, what? I mean, 6 months of work built out at any given time. He had more work than he can really handle, but 6 months was his kind of target. Like, if it got below 6 months, he would go out and hustle a little bit of business and then push it back out. That's it.
Yep.
And that was his whole thing. That was, that's all he did.
Just delivering quality, optimizing on the quality and solving that problem for the customer. And like, I know our business is, as we've gone through such a massive pivot and we've transformed the business. And those are some of the elements that we're starting to see is we can run a lot leaner. Our customers and the contract sizes are so much larger, which gives us time to work with them and time to walk through the entire process and to really focus on product and making the product better. Where at one time I feel like we were just on that, how do we grow fast? It's like playing whack-a-mole. What do you do to get more leads and get them in the door and to close those deals and just blah, 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 blah. And you forget about the customer. And I think we're the opposite now. We're really focused on the customer. The product's really good. It's really unique. And it's working. And so we're getting customers, and it just feels like it's more comfortable all around. It's just, we're not spending any money on ads and things. They come to us and we meet with them, and it's like, yeah, we can solve your problem. And it just feels more relationship based and at a pace that makes sense. A lot more comfortable.
Well, I love that about the way you've done it. And I'm trying to copy you, in that case, like just saying, hey, listen, I just need enough good relationships to make a decent business, because you talked about the big brands that get all the attention. Well, attention is always rented, right? A relationship is owned. If you think about it that way, so that's what I'm trying to do with my new business. Is I don't need the attention. I don't need, people that just are unnamed. They're just a customer ID number with a subscription number, and that's all you know about them. I want to talk to, Larry, right? Or Karen, or, the folks that help support us. I want the relationship with them because that's owned. That's something that I will never give up.
Yeah. And it's so much more enjoyable. Like it just is like, my creative agency, I go back, man, it was 2012, I think, when I sold that business. And, I still have customers. I haven't talked with them in years. I know I could phone them up and we go for a coffee today. 10 years later, 12, whatever year, how many, 14 years later. And that was just built up, those relationships, and enjoying working with people and enjoying being able to deliver something that they're really excited about, and they come back. That's the thing. Repeat customers, like, our business was built on relationships and on repeat customers, and it's a lot nicer way to do it. And this business is moving in that direction now too. And it's I think a lot more comfortable and a lot more, you feel a lot more, you're happy with what you've done. You're gratified. Like, this is the way that you like to do business. I think it's really important. And I think it's time to get rid of a lot of that hustle culture, and the thing that amazes me is how many people are employees that are pushed beyond the limits, and like, they don't even own a stake. There's just, they're kind of a hired gun that they could let them go tomorrow. And I think that's not a great culture for, anyone.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. So what's something you've measured or tracked, thinking you could optimize with that number, that looking back, you're like, wasted time?
It's every year and every month or every quarter, there's probably a new one that we mistakenly, but early on, early on, it was all those vanity metrics. It was, how many people came to the website, traffic, how many clicked, and how many, ultimately it was who bought and how long did they stick around and for how much. That's all ultimately, that's all that mattered. Every other thing is easy to basically say it's a vanity metric. I know if they're used properly and you can see that end-to-end connection, which most businesses can't get that end-to-end connection like that. There is a place, I understand that, but I think especially for startups and entrepreneurs and that, they jump to metrics that billion-dollar companies use way before it would even make even the smallest bit of sense. And it hurts them.
Yeah. All right. So that being said, we still like at Mike and Blaine clicks. We still like views. We still like, because it makes us feel good. I know it's vanity metrics, but on this show we get paid in vain. So
I will no, but you know what? I'm gonna turn that around a little bit. Please like, subscribe, and follow, because it's not just vanity metrics. If you like our video that you're watching right now, click like. The algorithm that we have no control over is going to say, hey, somebody likes this. Let's show a few more people. And like we know, because we have one that's well over 1 million views right now. And it was because of that engagement that keeps feeding the algorithm, and it's feeding. It's like feeding the monster. I'm not crazy about it, but I do really appreciate it when you guys like, even if you listen to it. Pat, I know you're out there right now. Like this video, because it helps. All those things help. Every like helps, because we have to feed the algorithm.
I'm going to see where we're at on our things.
On our $1 million,
speaking of that
our
one,
million, our $1
yeah, okay, so
million view.
it's slowed down quite a bit, but it's 1.3 million views, 9,836. So 1.3 million views, $0 in revenue.
$0
But
in
it
revenue.
makes me feel good. It makes me feel really good.
Yep.
That's about it.
It's yeah. We for this, what we like is just more people to see the Mike and Blaine show, and that's why we really want you to like, subscribe, and follow, because those likes make a huge difference, especially on YouTube. And that, if you're watching us on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever, definitely please like. That's, I don't usually ask for those all the time, but it does really help more people see us.
All right, but hey, good topic, man. I like it. So, would you trade revenue for more control, more of your life and your time?
Oh yeah, I would. It depends on the numbers, right? I guess in some way, because it's like, like a little bit hypothetical, but overall, and I think this is actually a lot of entrepreneurs are wired this way. It's not about the money. It's like you like to build something, but the longer I've been at this and the more grind we've been through, the more I appreciate time and the time away and the things that are outside of this job and business, that can be really enjoyable, and also I think feed the business. So yeah, for sure.
There you go. We are well on your way in season 6. This is what, the 5th, 6th episode of the season. So boom, we are putting out content. You need to consume it. You need to absorb it. You need to like, share, tell a friend, tell 3 friends, and then have them like and share the same. So I appreciate you. Thanks for listening.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com. Then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.